It means I believe in you.
It's exactly
right.
All right,
it's tough. I
just want to hammer that point home.
That's what this is, motivation. So let's get it started. Okay. At number 3, Derek Carr. All right, look, Devontae Adams, everybody's singing his praises. He was great. The defense wasn't bad considering they were going against a high-powered offense like the Chargers, but Derek Carr threw 3 interceptions for the first time in 4 years. Only the 3rd time in his career, 9-year career. So Derek Carr, if he gives them a solid performance, they win that game. You don't want to start 0-2 in the AFC West. So Derek Carr, here's motivation.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, at number 2, Joe Burrow. Now, I mentioned Derek Carr with the 3 interceptions. Joe Burrow threw 4 picks. Guys, I feel strong, I feel safe saying this for the first time in his life. Because he never did it in the NFL. He never did it in college. I doubt he threw 4 interceptions in a high school game. So Joe Burrow, Pop Warner, I bet he never threw 4 interceptions.
Probably bench him.
How does he handle it, though? When something negative happened to you for the first time, how does he handle it? How does he handle being the hunted? Because I also think, look, obviously he hasn't been the hunted in the NFL. Last year, everything they did was gravy. Was he even the hunted at LSU? He was transferring from Ohio State where he couldn't get on the field. I don't think he was really even the hunted there. So something new for Joe Burrow to deal with, and let's see what the offensive line is.
Again.
It is motivation, Joe, but I'm just drumming up the negative that people are thinking out there.
Don't reveal number 1.
So come on, don't reveal number 1.
This is just a big moment for your credibility. Because there is someone who obviously and clearly should be number 1, and I, like the rest of America, want to see if it's him.
Segment.
I just want to see if it's him.
Okay.
I just want to see. Don't take me off the screen. I just want to see if it's him.
Nick, this is the obvious answer. I wanted to go elsewhere because I pulled for this guy.
Oh, good.
But I couldn't go elsewhere. It's so obvious. You talk about credibility. The Budless credibility would be shot.
That's true.
If anyone but Trey Lance was
You've got to be kidding me.
I mean, maybe I could have went Nathaniel Hackett, maybe, but I had to go with a player, and it's got to be, I think Coach got to agree with me. Trey Lance, I'm sorry. He's coming off a game where he had the worst completion percentage in the league. He had the worst passer rating in the league. And everybody, he was in a monsoon. It was pouring rain. Well, guess what? There's a 98, you're not going to like this, Nick, 98% chance of rain in San Francisco. Yeah, now you're silent. That was a mic drop moment. 98% chance of rain in San Francisco. And I'm telling you, Jimmy G, the rumblings are beginning.
No, I'm
not. The rumblings are beginning. And Coach, you know this in the locker room. I'm sorry.
It's rumbling.
I'm not saying this should happen after week 2. But the veterans in that locker room, if they don't see improvement from Trey Lance, they're going to be like, we think we can win a Super Bowl. We got a guy who at least we know can get us there.
Fair.
Why isn't he play? You got to play the best player at each position to keep the locker room. So, Nick, I'm pulling for Trey.
Yeah.
Trey, this is motivation. I like what you're about. I like your character, but you got to show up this week. You're playing Seattle. I know they're frisky. They showed us last week they could play better than we thought they were. But you got to get it done, my man. Rain, it's going to be raining, so get yourself mentally ready for that. That's the Budless.
Great Budless.
It can't come on. I couldn't go with anybody but Trey.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever want you pulling for me. Don't pull. If you do, pull for me less. Because it was his first game as a true starter. I know he had other opportunities, but in this kind of environment and role, and I understand that Jimmy G is there. It just seems like you're putting a lot on him from going into the first week. You might want to give him just a little bit more leeway before you can. I get Derek Carr. I understand, but that's a new offense as well. Joe Burrow has to deal with success, and that's a challenging component of the NFL. But my guy is Kyler Murray, and here's why: is you want a new contract after your 3rd year. Even though you should have a 4th year and then a 5th year option because of where you were drafted, and you're going to take yourself off of social media and all those issues, and then you get your new contract, which is fantastic. and you're in a situation where the contract has an addendum about studying, and that's a concern. Okay, we seem to have cleared that up, but you go into the game and there were missed opportunities in that game, and there were times where he scrambled early when he should have stayed in the pocket, and there were times where he stayed in the pocket where he should have got out, and not saying that in the first game people aren't going to go through issues like that, but this is a team that historically starts very fast, and they've lost 7 out of their last 8 games, and they traditionally don't finish very well. So to not have early part of the season success could be a real issue for them as they move on.
I thought about Kyler, Coach, because they're facing, this is your Super Bowl. The Raiders and the Cardinals. You're the only person on the planet, by the way, who thinks that. But anyway, he had a much better game, though, than Derek Carr or Burrow or Trey, obviously. Any of the guys on the Bud list. He did throw 2 touchdowns. I know they were kind of late, but still.
They were awful late.
2 touchdowns and almost 200 yards, so I couldn't. It's only 3 people. I couldn't get him.
And in his defense, was going up against a defense some say might be the league's best.
Just
early returns. We'll see. Who knows?
Is that what the algorithm says? The algorithm says that.
I don't have a defensive proprietary algorithm. Okay. It is. We do a lot of things on the show. Some are serious, some are wacky.
Okay.
Some are fun, some are serious. We do a lot of different things. But one of the common threads of this show for the 1,264 episodes that we have done, of which you've been a part of a third of them, is integrity.
Take integrity.
And to do an under duress list this week and not have Mr. Quite Limited, Russell Wilson.
It's his list.
Undermines. I understand it's my tiers, the committee, but my tiers. But I don't just all of a sudden decide certain teams are not in the NFL. Just like, you know what? I'm angry at the Steelers.
Yeah,
this
you
week.
do.
No. They all
saw the whole bottom of the list.
Shown up somewhere. To not include Russell Wilson when after a whole offseason of nonsense and catchphrases and TikToks and YouTube videos and just cringeworthy moments, for him to go back to Lumen Field, get outplayed by Geno Smith, for his coach to say, do I trust you to get 5 yards, or do I trust the greatest kick in league history to happen right now? Let's go for history, boys! To have all that happen. He couldn't even get the offense together. How many did he not know the crowd wasn't going to quiet down for him? 5 pre-snap penalties, false starts, delay games, all of it. To have all of that happen. And then his previous coach is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, Pete Carroll, mock him. His previous teammates, one of whom is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, Richard Sherman, mock him. And for you to put Derek Carr on the list instead, or Joe Burrow, who had an off night, on the list instead, is beyond belief.
What?
Some valid points.
Those 2 guys had 7 interceptions combined.
Yeah, it's not
Russell Wilson threw for 340 yards.
Okay.
I get it. He lost in Lumen Field. It's tough. Ask Tom Brady. It's tough to go back to your place of success. And you get emotional. But he still wasn't nearly as bad as the 3 guys on the Bud list. No, I refuse to put Russell Wilson on. Plus, they're playing Houston. Now, I'm saying this is for next week, y'all. If they lose to Houston, he will be on the Bud list.
Thanks.
Okay. He will. That's why I didn't put him on. Him and Nate Hackett. That's why they're not on the Bud list, because they're playing Houston. Okay. And if they lose to Houston, it's going to be a Bud list of 2. Those 2.
Okay. All right. I have an unconventional Bud list pick. And I think this is going to cause tremors throughout the Bud list, all the fans, the Bud list Reddit. It's going to be crazy.
There is a Reddit.
I'm putting on, it's very active. I'm putting on Josh Allen and the Bills. What? Oh my goodness. I thought Josh Allen won the Super Bowl already because he won 1 game. Take it easy, Bills fans. Take it easy. Take a breath. First reason, too long. Too much resting. From that Thursday all the way to Monday, too much. I'm ready for that rest conversation, and I'm headed towards rust. Reason number 2, you may have heard of him, King Henry. Oh, Derrick Henry is back. Let's look at his numbers against the mighty Buffalo Bills. Pretty good. And then you see the bottom stat line there, one legendary stiff arm. Oh, I think that's the stiff arm that haunts the Bills. So I know you guys got very excited because you beat the world champs with Sean McVay.
The retirement
Said, you know what, we weren't ready to play. I get it. Titans coming off of a tough loss against the Giants. I think they're going to be looking for revenge. You're like, you know what? Now the Bills, how you like to do your hunted hunter thing.
Yeah.
I think Titans going to be like, you know what? Let's knock off the Bills right here. So it's unconventional.
It is that.
But I think it deserves a spot, Josh Allen on the Bills, on the Bud list.
If I had to list the guys that there's no way they could be on the Bud list, and Josh Allen might be a top. He's coming off of 4 touchdown
It's like a
games against
circle.
the defending
Next thing you know, you
Super
are
Bowl
on it.
champions. How?